What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chuds BBQ. My name is Bradley Robinson, and today I'm going to show you how I made this beautiful, tender, sliced, smoky, fatty, rendery, smoked pork belly, and PBLTs. Coming up! Pork belly. Everybody loves pork belly. Typically you see it cured and smoked in the form of bacon, but it can also be prepared in pretty much any other way, whether it's thrown on a flat top and seared, thrown on the grill. It's a really versatile cut of meat. And because of the fatty nature of pork belly, it's also a really great cut for barbecue. The low and slow method really helps break down and render all the fat and produce some really succulent, juicy meat. And because it's got such a nice fat cap on it, you can also get a pretty nice bark on there as well. Typically, if you see pork belly in the barbecue world, it's either cured and smoked or cubed up and smoked in the form of pork belly burn ends, but that's a whole nother video. Today, we're just gonna smoke it till nice and tender, get some really beautiful slices out of it, and it's going to be delicious. This is a pork belly. Full-size pork belly. You can often find them in smaller chunks or in strips or something like that, but today I decided to get the full belly, and this is often how you'll see them come at the grocery store. I went with the full belly just to ensure that I could get a very nice center cut piece of belly, because it tends to get a lot fattier on the ends here. You can see it's a little chunkier on this side, kind of fatty over there, where all the silver skin tends to live. What I'm gonna do is cut this thing into thirds. The reason I'm going for a nice center cut piece of belly is because it's got the best meat to fat ratio. And typically I'm looking for the most fat when I'm looking at a steak or a rack of ribs or something. But because belly by nature is about 50% fat, I really want to find the leanest pork belly I can find. That way when it all renders down, I'm not left with a big puddle on the cutting board. And I actually have some tender meat in there that I can enjoy. And that's looking pretty much perfect to me. These other ends we could cook as well, but I'm gonna save these for burn ends or bacon or something. Looks almost good enough to eat already. You can cut your belly to any size you like. You can cook the whole thing, but because we're gonna cook it so tender, it's gonna get real soft and hard to work with. So I like to cut them into manageable sizes. So I'm gonna cut this in half, just to make life a little easier down the road. And there we have it, some beautiful looking pork belly. Typically, I keep it pretty traditional when it comes to rubs for barbecue, but when it comes to these non-traditional cuts like pork belly, it's kind of fun to play with some new flavors. So today we're gonna go with a slather. My go-to slather of choice is usually about half mustard and half hot sauce. Mustard can be a little too thick by itself, and hot sauce can be a little too thin by itself. So mixed together, they make a really nice slather with some really good tang. Helps add some color, some nice flavor. And this is what I use for ribs or brisket, or anytime I'm feeling like a slather, I usually go for something like this. Looks good to me. Just gonna rub these down, add some nice color, but mostly it's just adding some tackiness. The flavor doesn't really come through that much, but might as well add something with some flavor rather than just water. Help build those layers of flavor. And please guys, don't forget the sides. When it comes to rubs for your pork belly, you can literally do whatever you want. If I was gonna go straight salt and pepper, I'd do a 2-part 16 mesh pepper to 1-part kosher salt. But this is a great opportunity to use any of your favorite rubs, anything off the shelf. Today I'm going with my go-to Chud rub. This is my kind of classic all-purpose rub that I use for all chicken, fish, pork, anytime I'm feeling lazy or feeling like using something other than salt and pepper. I've got it in a little shaker, but I don't really like the shaker because the pepper granules are so much heavier. It just makes more sense for me to pour it into my hand. But this is a real basic rub. It's about 2 parts pepper, 1 part salt, got some paprika, garlic, other spices in there, but real basic flavor profile. And just like any rub, it's real nice because the sodium is low enough that you can get a really good coat of rub on here without worrying about over salting anything. I'm just gonna season it up. Don't forget the sides. Make it look real nice. Just like any rub, we're not trying to rub it in or massage it or anything, just kind of pat it on. The mustard will hold it in place. And if you ever get too much on there, you can always just let some fall off. A lot of people say you need to let your rub really sit on and absorb, do the old dry brine thing, but for this kind of recipe, I don't think it's necessary. There we have it, some beautifully rubbed down, nice thick cuts of pork belly ready to hit the smoker, which is rocking a solid 275, creeping its way up to 300 degrees, and that's about where we're gonna keep it throughout this entire cook. On it goes. We're just gonna let these cook for the next 3-4 hours until they are nice and tender, got a good bark, and all that fat is starting to render out. So this pork belly has been cooking for about 3 hours now. The color is looking really nice. The bark is set. So now we're going to start adding some additional flavor in the form of a spritz. Much like spare ribs, pork belly can take a lot of different flavor profiles really well. And today I'm going to go with a nice maple glaze on it. And it's going to come out tasting real nice. So today for this spritz, I'm going to do some maple syrup. Who doesn't love maple syrup? It runs through my veins. And because maple syrup is a little on the thick side, we're gonna add some warm water, just enough to thin it out to make it spritzable. You can also add some vinegar, any liquid will do. Very nice color. Just gonna spritz these down, start building this glaze. I'm gonna spritz it periodically for the next hour or so until it's got a nice sheen on top, a nice coat, and then we're going to pull them off, let them rest, and slice them up. Nice mahogany glaze on there. The maple is set on really nice. You got some beautiful color on there. When I probe it, it feels super tender. It goes through no problem. We're reading right around 200 degrees, 205, and these are feeling real nice. So what we're gonna do is give these one final spritz, and we're gonna wrap them in foil and let them rest for a good hour or so, just until they cool down a bit. The foil wrap rest is just so this outer crust kind of softens up a bit and everything kind of collects all the juices and tenderizes, and it's gonna slow down the resting process a little bit, which is gonna help these get extra tender. All right, it's been about 45 minutes, and I got some ladies in there that are really hungry for some pork belly, so I think it's time to unwrap these and see how they came out. Ooh, nice and barky, very tender. Feels real nice to the touch. Nice and pillowy, just like a beef rib. I think it's time to slice this up. Ooh. Smells smoky, mapley. Can't go wrong with this. So that's what we're left with, guys. Crazy tender. Looks just like a brisket. Can't go wrong. Oh, you know that's gonna be good. Let's try some. Here's some little pork belly burn ends for you. So good, so smoky. The sweetness comes right through. The fat is nicely rendered. The meat is incredibly tender. Got a nice smoke ring on there. Really nice crispy bark. Oh, beautiful. Try one of these little burn ends. It's like meat candy. Once it chills down, you can cook it just like bacon. It's kind of like that smoky, uncured bacon, but it's got more of a barbecue vibe to it. Highly recommend it. Nice thin slice, holds up. Beautiful.
Mwah.
Ooh, that's hot.
It's so good. Go back for more. I'll be here all night.
La da da da. Na, 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 na. Come on. Beep, 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 beep. Ha, ha, ha.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Boom.
How would you rank a pork belly BLT versus a regular BLT? Because the bacon gives you the crispiness, but the pork belly gives you the
But it's
the
so much
meatiness.
sweeter.
It's a trade-off from learning to make. Like, I am missing that little crunch, but there's like a suppleness.
It's so sweet. Approved. It's just like, it's so tender. Like, you don't think you're eating this like half-inch thick cut.
Yeah, the biteability factor's like through the roof. I'm going to rescind my earlier comments about not being hungry and go for another half.
There you go. Why are you just like a pirate?
I saw the Goonies today.
There you go.
I'm gonna teach you how to wrap up pork belly. Well, you gotta move it first because I gotta lay the foil down. And then you do this, and then
All right, guys, and that is it. That is my simple version of sliced pork belly. This recipe can go in any direction, any spices, any rubs. You can really make it your own. And if you have some inebriated friends around, they will absolutely devour everything you just made. Also, it's great for beginners too. If you're learning a new smoker or you're just getting into barbecue, it's a super forgiving cut of meat because it's so fatty. It's good at any tenderness level. Any internal temp from 160 to 200 is gonna be delicious. So I highly recommend giving pork belly a try. But if you like this video, please like like and subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a lot. I have links in the description for everything I've used in this video and every other video. Hit me up on Instagram at ChudsBBQ. I'm pretty active in the DMs, and you can see what I'm cooking and tag me because I'd love to see what you guys are cooking as well. You can also find me on TikTok at ChudsBBQ or ChudsBBQ.com for any pit inquiries. But again, please like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments below what you want to see me cook next, and I will see you in the next one. And until then, please go cook something outside. Peace!